Hello YouTube, my name is Big Boy Snatch on TV, aka what kind of snatch one because I got playing around. As you can tell by the title of the thumbnail of the video, this is my AEW Dynamite review and highlights. So if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning or towards the end. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button for more wrestling content because I'm on the road to 11K before the end of April. Follow my social media down below in the description. Go check out my WWE Raw review and highlights, and also go check out my WWE NXT review and highlights that I did on the channel. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, AEW Dynamite was a very good show, and that's all I gotta say. I'm gonna be the first one to say I did not see this one coming. As you can tell by the thumbnail itself, I did not see this one coming because I thought that Chris Jericho was finna leave AEW to go right back to WWE. But guess what? I was wrong. Chris Jericho is right back with AEW. And that's all I gotta say. And Chris Jericho is a babyface. Alright, enough of that. Let me get started. AEW was live from Canada Life Century in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. It says it's gonna be a happening here tonight, folks. Will you be serious? Enough fooling around on this April Fool's Day. Though it's Wednesday, you know what that means. It's time for AEW Dynamite. We've been on that, but AEW they need to come up with something new instead of you know what that means. Alright, but anyway, it seems AEW is also having some fun on April Fool's Day as we kick things off with Pyro cutting off Tony Schiavone as he introduced the contract signing between MJF and Kenny Omega for the AEW Dynasty. That's not the only thing that interrupts Tony Schiavone, whoever, as Judas begins to play, revealing to the return of Chris Jericho. And I'm so glad to see Chris Jericho back on AEW, and that's all I gotta say. This was a good moment for Chris Jericho, and that's all I gotta say. The crowd sing along with his theme as he makes his way to the ring. When the music finally dies down, the crowd starts chanting "Welcome back" and his name, and he acknowledges the crowd for it, which gets another big pop. He pulls for the crowd some more, and they chant "Welcome home" because he's from Winnipeg. Winnipeg, you see, Chris Jericho gets a mic and finally addresses the crowd. Winnipeg, AEW, I'm home. Chris Jericho music hits as the crowd cheers some more. Commentary addressed him returning after nearly a year away. They don't get to focus on that for long as we cut backstage where Will Ospreay is seen going after Jon Moxley. Wheeler Yuta tries to break things up only to be sent into some kegs before security arrives to put a stop to things here. They pull him away as we head back to ringside where MJF makes his entrance to get this contract signing on the way. But this was a good moment to see Chris Jericho back in AEW. I was so happy, but I did not see this one coming at the same time. Cause my boy Toxic told me in Showstopper TV's live stream. I asked him, "Is Chris Jericho is with AEW?" He said yes. So this is no clickbait, guys. Chris Jericho is back with AEW. It's been a year, so that's all I gotta say. Out next is another Canadian classic, and Kenny Omega as the number one contender heads to the ring. The two men sit across the table from each other, and it seems we get smooth sailing on them signing the contract. Kenny Omega interrupts MJF trying to talk, running the champion down for always having something to say. He says he knows that this is where the best wrestler, before acknowledging his close call with a massive healthcare not that long ago, and how the fans stood by his side because they want something better than MJF as champ. Kenny Omega has never wanted to call himself more than a professional wrestler, but if he is the antithesis to what MJF, who calls himself the devil, is, then maybe he can be god of professional wrestling. This gets a laugh out of the champ, who remarks about Kenny Omega claiming he's 100% before making fun of Canadians because what's the deal with bags of milk anyway? and then says Kenny Omega is one strong guess a win away from retirement. Before MJF doesn't want to talk about that, he wants to talk about the thing that Kenny Omega doesn't want to talk about. He asked the fans if they're curious why Kenny Omega is so enamored with winning the world title. He talks about the Triple B being highly sought after, but there's more to the story than that. Revealing that Kenny Omega had a trip to the doctor who told Kenny Omega that in summary, Kenny Omega's days in the ring are numbered. When MJF beats Kenny Omega at Dynasty, the fans will have to admit that their God is nothing more than a man who would rather be dead. This angers Kenny Omega, who rise out of his seat, looking like he is about to break the no contract rule, as MJF tries to goad him into it. But out comes Speedball Mike Bailey to try to calm Kenny Omega down, and grabs the mic from MJF, saying he's trying to get out of defending the title because he's afraid. He says that without Kenny Omega there is no AEW, which is facts. And without AEW there is no MJF. He says the only place MJF is a living legend in his own head before offering to beat some sense into the champ's head. Kenny Omega reveals he had a chat with MJF's doctor as well. So much for HIPAA laws, he says, saying that he may be missing 24 inches of intense times. What's that? In times, but that's better than missing his balls. This rallies up MJF, who accepts Mike Bailey's challenge, but says he's not just facing in any old MJF. He is facing an American hero. It is what it is. It says MJF's music hits as the champ makes his exit from the ring. Out comes the demand as they face Kenny Omega and the two pals, and Jack Perry is out. It's our opening match. Brody King makes his entrance as we cut to a quick commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Jack Perry has made his entrance, and this trios match gets on the way. That was a good promo by Kenny Omega and MJF. So that's all I gotta say. So we get the first match. We get trios match, AEW National Championship. Trios match, AEW National Champion Jack Perry, Brody King, and Kenny Omega versus the Demand, Ricochet, Bishop, Khan, and Tora Luna. This was a fun 6-man tag team match. We start off with Kenny Omega and Khan. They ladder trapping Kenny Omega in a side headlock. Kenny Omega counters with one of his own before hitting the ropes, where Ricochet catches him with a knee to distract him. Bishop lands some shots before making the tag to Toa, and he and Ricochet double team to beat the best bout machine. Kenny Omega dodges a strike from Ricochet for a tag to Brody King, who lays some heavy shots in the former national champion for a cover, only for GOA to break it up. They go after Brody King, sending him to the outside, where Kenny Omega tries to intervene as well, before Jack Perry lands on the field with a moonsault. This gives Ricochet an opening as he brings Brody King into the ring. Brody King counters for a suplex before Tora intervenes, and this quickly becomes a PWG special as the rest of the competitors join for a chain suplex that ends with Kenny Omega connecting with the moves, sending all of them to the mat. Jack Perry is the first to his feet, but is sent to the outside, where he is blindsided by Luna as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, the demand have Jack Perry corner as they continue to beat him down. Toa is now the legal man and he draws Jack Perry for a cover and a 2 count. A tag is made to Kong as the beatdown continues until Jack Perry breaks free for a tag to Kenny Omega. He takes Ricochet to the corner before getting a near fall on Kong, but Toa is right there to break it up. Luna gets the tag now, but it comes Brody King. The man gets stacked into the corner for a big cannonball from Brody King. This allows Kenny Omega to go for the cover, but Luna kicks out at 2. Tag made to Ricochet. As Toa runs down Jack Perry and Kenny Omega, and Ricochet hits a dive on Brody King. Both men back in the ring as Kong takes out Brody King with a drop kick and Ricochet lands a moonsault on Kenny Omega for a near fall. Jack Perry pulls Ricochet out of the ring, followed by the GOA, and he goes for a dive over the ropes. They catch him in midair, but gets dropped to the floor with a dive by Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega goes for a dive of his own, only to be dropped by Ricochet. He sends Brody King off the apron before landing a dive. Back on his feet is Ricochet, who climbs the turnbuckle for a 450, but takes a knee strike. Instead, V trigger is dodged, but a reverse Rana is not, as Ricochet gets dropped to the canvas outside the ring. Toa and Brody King go at it, leading the King. Brody King sending Loa over the timekeeper's table. Back in the ring, Ricochet lands a thirst kick and enziguri on Kenny Omega, followed by a vertigo, but Kenny Omega kicks out before 3. Kong hands the national championship to Ricochet, but Jack Perry stops him long enough for Kenny Omega to set up for a one-wing angel. Ricochet reverses into a Hurricane for 2, only to be sent to the ropes for a V trigger, followed by the one-wing angel as Kenny Omega picks up the win. The winner of the match by pinfall, AEW National Champion Jack Perry, Brody King, and Kenny Omega. This was a fun 6-man tag team match, and I enjoyed this. The trio celebrate as we cut backstage where Willow Nightingale is about in open challenge for a TBS title at Collision tomorrow night. As someone can be heard with a drill off screen, don't know what that's about. Elsewhere, Renee Paquette looks for a word from Cage and Cope as the two arrive with a pair of chairs. Cope says tonight isn't the night for a chat. They are looking for some revenge on FTR, and Cage confirms the seriousness of all of this as he storms off before we cut to commercial break. Alright. We follow Christian Cage and Colt to the FTR locker room where they bump into RPG voice instead. Romero and Trent says that FTR will be at Collision tomorrow night, but will take his message for the champs. Cage says these guys are in their way, and the message they leave is a chair shot on the two members of the Don Callis finally. Cage and Cope leave the locker room as we head back to ringside. Pac makes his entrance through the crowd as we hear from Renee Paquette, who relays a message from Pac as he enters the ring for our next match. Will Ospreay makes his entrance as well, but Pac is a sneaky man running up behind Will Ospreay to blindside him on the ramp. Officials and medics come out to check on Will Ospreay, who calls for some space as he is slowly stringing. The big focus is on Will Ospreay's neck here, and we and we overhear the medic telling Will Ospreay he doesn't have to go. But Will Ospreay is having none of that as he starts heading to the ring. The crowd chants on his name as Will Ospreay is being told by the doctor to back off, only to slide into the ring. Anyways, Will Ospreay insists he's good, and the referee calls for the bell to get this match underway. So we get Will Ospreay versus Pac. In this match right here, this was a good match in my opinion. So, Pac stomps away at Will Ospreay's, targeting the neck as he forces Will Ospreay to the ropes. Referee intervenes to check on Will Ospreay, who claims he's fine, even as Pac starts to go back after him before we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Pac has Will Ospreay trapped in a combat before Will Ospreay managed to finally break free to go to the corner. He lands a rather phenomenal looking forearm off the ropes for the cover, but Pac kicks out at 2. Pac lands some shots before being sent to the corner, but he fights back from the corner before Will Ospreay managed to counter a suplex into one of his own. 450 from the aerial assassin, but it's only good for 2. Will Ospreay back to his feet as he sends Pac to the outside, but Pac intercepts in him the corner as a 2 count. As the two go at it, Will Ospreay goes for a diving sunset powerbomb, but Pac blocks it for a moonsault into a DDT, sending Will Ospreay to the floor below. Both men are down. As the ref begins the count, Pac returns before the count of 8, and Will Ospreay manages to slide in just in time, only for Pac to trap him in the brutalizer. Will Ospreay crawls over to get a foot on the ropes, forcing the break as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, the two men trade shots in the middle of the ring. This escalates to a missed kick from Will Ospreay as Pac catches him with a German suplex in a 2 count. Pac hits the ropes but gets caught by Will Ospreay, who twists him around for a powerbomb and a near fall of his own. He takes Pac down once more, but only gets another 2 for his efforts. Will Ospreay goes to the corner but is intercepted by Pac, who has some strong words for someone in the crowd before setting Will Ospreay up on the top for a poison rana. But Will Ospreay lands on his feet. He charges at Pac, who catches him with a hurricanrana for 2. They exchange offense until Pac gets a 2 count, and then drops Will Ospreay down hard and goes up top for a black arrow into a brutalizer, trapping Will Ospreay near the ropes until Will Ospreay powers up to his feet, but not full on. He drops back down to the canvas. Referee checks on Will Ospreay, who refuses to give up as he reaches a foot towards the ropes, only for Pac to roll through, bringing him back to the middle of the ropes. But Will Ospreay managed to counter for a pin and gets the 3 count for the win. The winner of the match, Will Ospreay. This was a good match between Will Ospreay and Pac. This match was good and physical at the same time. No time for celebration as Pac attacks Will Ospreay after the bell rings. Before the rest of the Death Riders follows, Claudio Castagnoli wraps the chair around Will Ospreay's neck, but John Moxley holds him back enough to get a microphone. He says, "There's 6 of us here. How did you think this was going to go?" This could have been a very bad situation, but he's just going to give Will Ospreay some advice. Next time, use your head, or you'll lose it. With that, the Death Riders leave Will Ospreay in the ring before heading through the crowd. As a graphic reveals, John Moxley will have have a Continental title eliminator match against Anthony Bowens tomorrow on Collision, which is Anthony Bowens is going to lose to Jon Moxley. Commentary rundown what's to come tonight before we go to commercial break. We head back to ringside for our next match as the Triangle of Madness are the first to make their entrance. Our next is Mina Shakara, followed by the Brawling Birds, who head to the ring to get this trios match on the way. So we get the 6 women's tag team match. Mina Shakara and the Brawling Birds, Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter versus the Triangle of Madness, Dakala, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. This is 6 woman tag team match. This was a decent 6 woman tag team match. Mina Shakara insists on going after Dakala first, but the champ is quick to dodge and attack before Sky Blue tags in. Sky Blue takes the fight to Mina Shakara in the corner, but Mina Shakara managed to fight back before hitting the ropes for a clothesline tag to Alex Windsor, who hits the ropes in a blind tag by Jamie Hayter. Heads to a brawling double team, a near fall. Mina Shakara comes in for further assist before getting the tag. Who hits a to kneel onto Sky Blue for a 2 count. Sky Blue fights off Mina Shakara before knocking the Birds off the apron, and this allows Dakala a chance to lay a boot to the head of Mina Shakara. She sends Mina Shakara back into the ring as we go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, we get the PWG special once more as all six ladies hit a chain suplex, sending each other to the mat. Alex Windsor and Dakala are the first back to their feet as they trade shots until Mina Shakara gets a tag for some revenge on the champ. She takes Dakala to the mat for a figure 4 leg lock, and the triangle runs in for the save. All 6 women go back at it. This ends with Mina Shakara and Dakala once more. They knock each other to the mat as the referee begins to count. They get back up for tags to Julia Hart and Jamie Hayter through the Brawling Birds have to deal with Dakala trying to use some brass knuckles. They stop it before taking out Sky Blue and the champ, and Jamie Hayter hits Julia Hart with the hydrated for the win. The winners of the match, Mina Shakara and the Brawling Birds, Alex Windsor and Jamie Hayter. Now this was a decent 6 woman tag team match. We take a look back at the Blackjack Battle Royal and the situation between Juice Robinson and Tommaso Ciampa before these two face off tomorrow on Collision. With that, we head back to ringside where Darby Allin comes out with a microphone. He says he was keeping on the throttle until he meets God, but since he's not around, he wants to talk to the devil. He talks about MJF dealing with the Don Callis family and how he hopes anyone can beat MJF so he can stop his BS running that he's on. He then calls out MJF, but it's met with the Don Callis family instead. I'm so sick and tired of the Don Callis family, and that's all I gotta say. Every Wednesday, I'm sick and tired of the Don Callis family. But anyway, let me continue. Don Callis talks about how much they're being paid to help the champ out, and that MJF will have a hand-picked member of the Don Callis family facing Darby Allin at Dynasty. If Darby Allin wins, the MJF will be happy to give a shot at the world title after he destroys Kenny Omega, and that hand-picked member that will face Darby Allin is Andrade Aldiel. Andrade looks surprised by this before Don Callis says He was also paid a good sum to take out Darby Allin right now, and the family go after him. They start to go after Darby Allin with Brody King comes out for the save, forcing the family to retreat before Kenny Omega comes out to ringside as we go to commercial break. So we go to commercial break. Back at ringside, Kenny Omega is gone to commentary as MJF makes his entrance for our main event. Out next is Speedball Mike Bailey, but MJF blindsides him before this match gets on the way. So we get the main event of the evening. So we get the AEW title eliminator match, MJF versus Speed Mike Bailey. And this main event right here, I ain't even gonna lie to you, I might as well say this main event was not bad, but I might as well say this was a pretty good main event in my opinion. Mike Bailey starts to fight back, but is quickly sent to the outside as the champ maintains control. But Mike Bailey backs into the ring before Speedball blocks him and sends MJF to the ropes for a hurricanrana, but the champ counters with a powerbomb for 2. MJF brings Speedball to his feet, but gets trapped up instead. MJF lands a thumb to the eyes, but takes a series of kicks to Mike Bailey in the response before being sent to the mat. Mike Bailey continues to flurry of offense for a standing shooting star press and a 2 count. Mike Bailey hits the ropes for a lunging kick to the face of the champ before taking him to the floor below. The referee begins to count, but Speedball Mike Bailey brings MJF back into the ring for another kick, taking the champ out. He goes up top before MJF rolls out of the way to the apron, hanging Speedball Mike Bailey up onto the ropes. In the process, MJF comes back in for a backbreaker, but Mike Bailey counters for a 2 count. MJF gets a near fall as well before Mike Bailey stacks him up with a straight jacket for a close 2 count before the champ kicks out. Mike Bailey heads to the ropes as MJF goes for a heat seeker, but Mike Bailey breaks free for a tiger bomb that gets another near fall. Both men are down as the referee checks on them, and Mike Bailey rolls to the ropes, only to be intercepted by the champ. MJF looks for the heat seeker, but settles for a low drop kick instead, sending Speedball Mike Bailey to the floor. He finds Kenny Omega at commentary and flips him off before going back to the ropes as he looks for another heat seeker on a return Mike Bailey, who counters out, sending the champ to the floor as we go to commercial break. We're back from commercial break. Mike Bailey regains control as he set up for Ultimo weapon, but MJF rolls out of the way, only to take a kick from Speedball Mike Bailey. Another one send the champ to the corner, and this allows for Ultimo weapon off the ropes. Dangerous rope, Brett ropes. Some might say as Mike Bailey covers for a 2 count. MJF starts to turn things back around when he hits a tombstone pile driver, sending Speedball Mike Bailey into the apron, staring at Kenny Omega as he yells, "God bless America," before dropping Mike Bailey with a heat seeker for the win. The winner of the match by pinfall, MJF, and I might as well say this was a pretty good match. MJF celebrates his win for just a moment before attacking Mike Bailey after the match, but Kenny Omega managed to run him out of the ring. The champ holds his title up high, telling Kenny Omega to look at his future before heading to the back. A medic comes out to check on Mike Bailey as commentary runs down tomorrow night's special edition of AEW Collision. Kenny Omega helps Mike Bailey to his feet as the crowd cheers, and Mike Bailey repays the favor by holding Kenny Omega's arm up high as AEW Dynamite come to a close. Let me read the quick results before I give my honest opinion what I think about AEW. Quick results: the Trios match, AEW National Champion Jack Perry, Brother King, and Kenny Omega defeated the Demand, Ricochet, Bischoff, Khan, and Toa Luna. This was a fun six-man tag team match. Will Ospreay defeated Pac, another good match in my opinion. Trios match, Mina Shikawa and the Brawling Birds, Alex Mansour and Jamie Hayter defeated Triangle of Madness, Dakala, Julia Hart, and Sky Blue. This was a decent six-woman tag team match. And AEW World Title Eliminator match, MJF defeated Speedball Mike Bailey. That was a pretty good main event match, what it was. And AEW Dynamite goes off the air. Alright, let me get my honest opinion what I think about AEW Dynamite. Now, AEW Dynamite was a very good show for what it was. But I'm glad that Chris Jericho is back with AEW. Some people say Chris Jericho contract has to expire with AEW, and Chris Jericho was going back to WWE. But they were wrong. Chris Jericho is now with AEW, and Chris Jericho is home. So I love that good moment by Chris Jericho by returning to AEW Dynamite. And I'm glad that Chris Jericho is home with AEW right where he belongs. And the crowd was singing Judas, Chris Jericho's Judas song. That was a good moment right there by Chris Jericho. But other than that, everything else was cool. So I enjoyed the show for what it was. But anyway, if you guys enjoyed my AEW Dynamite review on highs, make sure you guys please watch the entire video from all the way from the beginning towards the end. Make sure you guys, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button for more wrestling content because I'm on the road to 11K before the end of April. And I will see you guys tonight for my world premiere for my AEW Dynamite review on highs at around 5:30 a.m. on YouTube. I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang. And I will see you guys tomorrow live on Twitch with some WWE 2K26 My Rise mode. So I want you guys to have a great night. Stay safe and always stay positive. Kept your crew, kept your kings, kept your club. Too sweet. I'm out of here. Gang. Mwah. Bang. Too sweet. Gang.